Historic Anthology 3 has some really sweet cards coming that I can't wait to talk about. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles. I just realized how silly it is to say, I can't wait to talk about cards, and then cut to an intro. If I can't wait, then why didn't I just start by talking about the cards? That doesn't make any sense. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, my friends, we are here today to talk about the top 5 cards from Historic Anthology 3 that I am hyped about. So bear in mind, this is very much a personal list, and I know there are going to be some people who disagree with my list. But again, remember, this is the ones I'm hyped about. You're allowed to have your own list, and by all means, share it in the comments. Let me know which cards you're most hyped about. But telling me comments like, you should have put this on the list, won't make sense because it's cards I'm hyped about. So let's start out with number 5, which is Phyrexian Obliterator. This is 4 black for a 5/5 trampler. First of all, 4 mana for a 5/5 trampler, that just feels good all by itself. But what makes this card truly crazy is the ability on the card. Whenever a source deals damage to Phyrexian Obliterator, that source's controller sacrifices that many permanents. Behold, blessed perfection. So this is slotted to be a mythic rare, and I mean, let's be real. We're talking about the most hyped cards. The only thing we're going to be talking about today is rares and mythics. Get that common and uncommon junk out of here! So, Phyrexian Obliterator is exciting for a number of reasons. I mean, just on the surface of it by itself, it's an exciting card. But this puts dreams in my head. I don't know about you guys, and I don't really play mono black that much. But you know Gary, the good old I'm going to drain you based on the number of black mana symbols I have? Well, he's pretty exciting already with Underworld Dreams. But you put Underworld Dreams and Phyrexian Obliterator out, and you're living the dream, right? You just have to have one other mana symbol on top of Gary, and it's like, oops, tee-hee, I guess that you lose 20 and I gain 20. It's kind of just like big, dumb silliness that adds on to the appeal for me. I could actually see myself building a historic black deck to take advantage of Phyrexian Obliterator and play around with mono black devotion, because good lord, if your opponent doesn't have something silly like a justice strike that actually makes it do damage to itself, doing damage to this creature, the ability of Obliterator may as well just say, you really want to avoid doing damage to me. Like, do everything you can to avoid damaging me is what the ability basically is, because this thing can be just an absolute blowout, right? It's absolutely crazy. Obviously, they kept it somewhat like power balanced by making it 4 black mana. That's a steep casting cost. You're going to have a hard time pulling off 4 black in a non-mono black deck. Even just playing 2 colors, it's going to be a hard push to get 4 mana of 1 color with any reasonable level of speed. I mean on Arena. Obviously, in regular Magic, we have Dark Rituals and things like that, so you could power this chump out on the first or second turn. Absolutely insane. And on a side note, this is a card that my lady is a huge fan of as well. She's excited about getting copies of this on Arena. And since I like her enjoying Magic with me, I'm pleased to see a card that also makes her happy, because those are few and far between. Moving on to the next card. We just talked about number 5. Let's talk about number 4. Number 4 is a bomb, specifically Ratchet Bomb. It is a 2 casting cost artifact. You tap it to put a charge counter on the Ratchet, tap it and sacrifice the Ratchet to destroy each non-land permanent with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on Ratchet. Obviously trying to avoid saying a particular word too many times in the video just in case YouTube doesn't like it. But either way, this is a very interesting card in terms of, in a lot of ways, it's actually just going to act like pinpoint removal, right? You will be able to sometimes get more than 1 permanent, but you're probably going to be all right with just being able to destroy 1 permanent. And this gives decks that normally don't have the ability to destroy particular types of permanents the ability to do so. If you don't know what I mean, like certain colors just can't handle certain things, right? red and black really can't do jack about enchantments. Well, this Ratchet Bomb right here, that handles that situation where it's like, yep, no, I can take out enchantments, no problem. Now, admittedly, the Ratchet Bomb is a little bit slow if you need it to answer something large, and it is a one-way street, right? That's somewhat that balances out the power of this, because you can't put it out right away and take out something that costs 5, for example. And each time you choose to put a counter on it and move it up to destroy cards of a higher casting cost, you basically make every casting cost below that safe, right? Because you can't remove counters from it, barring you having some ability to remove counters from your cards. But you don't have the ability to remove counters from it, so it only moves upwards, which somewhat balances the power level of it. But this is a strong card, and I definitely enjoy this just as an idea of slapping in my mono green deck to go ahead and destroy like flying creatures and other things that I can't handle very easily. Green doesn't have a problem with artifacts or enchantments, but I mean, this thing can take out permanents. And what also is of note is this is an amazing card against tokens, because it destroys basically each permanent, obviously not land. If it was land, this would be the most broken nonsense ever. But anyways, it destroys all non-land permanents with converted mana cost equal to the number of charge counters on it. So if it has no charge counters on it, that means it's going to destroy everything with a converted mana cost of 0. And that is every single token, aside from some weird corner case tokens that make exact copies of creatures. The majority of tokens in Magic have a converted mana cost of 0. So Ratchet Bomb is going to be quite useful in that case. Let us move on to a green card in the number. Actually, no, sorry, you know what? The artwork on this card is so unremarkable in some ways that I just wanted to move on, but I will take a moment to touch on the fact that it kind of looks like a Blood Bowl football. It's like a spiky egg. It looks like a Blood Bowl football. I've never been impressed by the artwork, which is why normally you'll see me spend a fair bit of time discussing the artwork of a card, talking about how cool it is. But Ratchet Bomb, I never really liked the artwork. This just looks like something like a goblin would slap together. I don't know, man. It totally feels like a Blood Bowl football. Let's move on. Let's move on to number 3, which is Enchantress's Presence. And that is 1 green and 2 for an enchantment that says, whenever you play an enchantment spell, draw a card. It's pretty straightforward. I mean, there's not too much to it. The flavor text says, the wise learn from their successes as well as mistakes. And that's true. I mean, yes, you can learn a lot from mistakes, but you can also learn from your successes so you can repeat those successes. That's a great way to go through life. So the idea behind this is it's just for an enchantment-based deck. And I like that. We have Setessan Champion that came from Theros. We've got Enchantress's Presence. We have the, what is it? Back to Nature? Is that what it's called? There's a green enchantment. I cannot recall the name of it right now, but it's from M20. Whenever a creature comes out, you get to scry one, but whenever you cast a spell targeting one of your guys, you get to draw a card. So that would go quite well with auras in an enchantment style deck. And I remember playing like an old school Enchantress deck way back in the day. So I've got a soft space in my heart specifically for green enchantment style strategies. And when I saw the Setessan Champion, I was like, that's a cool card. I wish there was more to support an Enchantress style, like mono green or possibly green white, but more mono green is what I desire. I am biased in terms of wanting mono green, but I wanted more than the Setessan Champion. It didn't feel like it was enough. But with Enchantress's Presence, this definitely makes me want to tinker around with some historic mono green action. And I really like the artwork on this. This is the Rebecca Gay artwork, where you have this like nice looking elf maiden and she's just hanging out in the woods. It's just the presence of the Enchantress. You see all these kind of willowy trees around her. It's a very calm and peaceful piece of artwork, and a lot of Magic artwork is more like conflict based. Either you're about to get into some conflict or whatever, whereas this is more idyllic. This is just a beautiful little elven enchantress hanging out in the naturey woods, just linked up with the inner essence of enchantments. I dig that vibe. You know, that is cool. The flavor of cards matters to me, and that's why I moved so fast off of Ratchet Bomb. Anyhow, let us move on to the number 2 slot. And ooh, this is a good one, my friends. Muraris Wake. 1 white, 1 green, and 3 for an enchantment that says creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced. And the flavor text says the land drank power from the Murari as though it had thirsted forever. So, dude, I mean, on the surface of this card, this is all kinds of feel good. First of all, it just boosts your creatures. Cards that give your creatures +1/+1, that's a nice feel. There's a reason that people love Lord cards and Icon of Ancestry and everything like that, because it's nice to just have this blanket like, everybody's beefier. That's a good deal, right? And then you've got another great feeling of, oh, my mana producing is doubled from my lands, and on top of that, you don't even have to actually add 2 of the same mana. So if you have lands that can produce different colors, you can literally pick 2 different colors to come out of the land. Now that is rare for a mana doubling card, right? If you look at Nissa, the newest Planeswalker Nissa that doubles your mana. I mean, she's not the newest Nissa in the game, is she? Either way, you know who I'm talking about. World Shaker or something like that. She's busted. Anyhow, 5 mana and same casting cost, essentially 5 mana, but just doubles the mana of forests. Sure, you get to untap a forest with her, but still, she just doubles the mana of forest. Muraris Wakes will double the mana of any lands you have and allow you to go ahead and take different colors. And that is super beefy. The artwork depicts a number of druids. They are standing around Kamal. Sword Kamal is a major character from Magic's history. His blade is driven there into the earth, and on the end of it, as just a massive pommel stone, that's actually the Murari. Now, the Murari is actually responsible for a lot of craziness happening. It caused creatures to mutate. Basically, what it did was it caused people to turn into almost caricatures of themselves. So it just sort of like clerics became these more holy, ethereal beings that lost their humanity. Elves became these gigantic forest mutants. The Murari definitely caused some real havoc. So there's some cool flavor behind this card in some lore that I'm sure one day we will cover when it's relevant to some cards that have come out. But either way, this is a dope card, and it's strong enough to make me consider actually going like white-green for a deck, because man, that's a really good feeling. Now, the number 1 card, call Montel Jordan, because this is how we do it. It's a Chroma's Memorial. Oh my God. This card is so awesome. I love it so much, dude. It's so good. 7 mana, legendary artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, protection from black, and protection from red. Oh my God, I love it. It's so dumb and over the top. I love it so much. I played with these Chroma's Memorials in my MTGO Big Green Tower deck, and it's so fun in just 1 turn to launch your entire army in the air and be like, by the way, they've got vigilance and trample and haste. Oh, are you playing black or red? Guess what? They're also protection from your deck. It's so dirty, dumb, and good. And I also like the fact that you get 7 abilities from the card for 7 mana. The artwork depicts a Chroma, which makes perfect sense. It is a Chroma's Memorial. The original Achroma card had all of the abilities, so this Memorial grants all of Achroma's abilities to all your creatures. The Memorial is actually holding the genuine Achroma's sword. So that sword that's being held in the crumbling statue's hands, that is the literal blade that was wielded by Achroma. And Achroma's a pretty crazy character. She was created by Ixtador out of pure dream stuff. When Ixtador's longing for his wife became too much, it cost Ixtador his arm. The flesh of his arm was used up when his imagination powers manifested and created Achroma. And Achroma literally has the face of Ixtador's dead wife, which is really sad. Either way, the flavor on this card is fantastic. The flavor text, the no rest, no mercy, no matter what, that is literally a direct quote from Achroma. This card is a home run on every level, dude. This is so awesome. I'm super stoked to see this coming to Arena, and I will definitely be making some of these bad boys with my wild card. With my wild cards, I can't help myself. It's good times. So, I know you're probably going to have some different choices. Some of you are probably like, yo, what about Ulamog? Ulamog just didn't get me hyped. What can I say? I just don't care about playing with that giant Eldrazi. I'm not saying he's not a good card. You can enjoy him, but he didn't hit for me. So let me know, what are your most hyped cards? You can let me know in the comments below, my friends. Big shout out to my patrons and channel members. Thanks for supporting the channel. We're going to have another Wheel of Savagery spinning tonight in the live stream. So if you want to come out for that fun, you're more than welcome to. But for now, I'm history, baby.